So let's look at some options for thread colors. So to review this window again, this is where I'm going to pull designs off. Here are my breadcrumbs, so I can go back out to the main directories. Not a little too far. Almost too far, Linda. So we can go back out to the main directory. Here are my fonts. Here are motifs. And here would be my favorite ones. I'm only pulling the designs from the machine, but I could pull the designs from a USB stick. So that noise was telling me I did not have a USB stick inserted. I have now inserted the USB stick. I'm going to the Bernette designs. Be patient. And here are some of the mastery designs that Bernette provides. Let's bring up this dress one. This is very nice shades of blue. So let's go into, there's not much editing I want to do to this one. We're going to go into here. So just to recap, this is going to take me 19 minutes to stitch out. It is 44 millimeters by 109.3 millimeters. And it's also telling me I have 4 colors in here. Let's go ahead and tap on the palette. So this machine is set up to use isochord threads, which means that when I bring up a design, say it's been digitized with sulky threads, this has been changed to read the corresponding isochord color. Now, if I tap on that, let's go back. So if I tap on these 3 spools here, I can change the brand of threads that I'm using. Maybe you are a sulky or a Floriani. Those are the embroidery threads that you have. Well, let's go to Madeira. Let's go classic rayon. Check mark. Now it has interpreted whatever the designer said this color should be into the appropriate Madeira color. And it's going to tell me the amount of time in that color. Now what does this button here do? This means that I can actually change the color. Well, this is the color that your machine has interpreted, what the designer has said. But I may want to just go ahead, let's go for a darker blue, and you'll see the picture has now changed. So what I can do is I can scoot down. I can change to the next color. That was 1075. Let's say I want to make that 1432. Didn't make much of a difference. I can change this. That's a bit darker. Let's go to this. This should be color 3. And it's a dark blue shading. Let's go almost a purpley color, choke cherry. And then the last color is an outline stitch, and that's usually done in black. Okay. So now I have changed the colors. So let's go back. Let's just pick some real different colors. So this is going, there's 27 pages of colors. So I'm kind of in the blue. Let's go let's pick 1450. Ooh, that doesn't pick up on the camera very good, does it? Let's go to that color. Let's go to our next color. And these are coming in numerical order. Let's pick that color. And then for my shading, so this is changing within the Madeira Classic Rayon, or I can change to another brand. Let's add some green to that. I'll pick a different color. I'll go yellow. Yellow doesn't show up at all. Green, let's go green. And my black, you probably want to leave. So there you go. I have now changed all my colors. I'm going to hit the needle. Arm in. Yes, I am. Remember to always put in your hoop when it asks. So now I'm going to the stitching screen. So let's magnify that. So these are some of the colors I changed. And then move up to here. Almost has a Christmas vibe to it. I have red, green, and orange. So we're in the stitching screen now. 19 minutes for the entire dress to stitch out. This color that I did change is going to be 9 minutes long. The first option up here on my right hand side is a basting box. So if you were doing applique and you had a piece of fabric on top, it's a good idea to do a basting box. It'll stitch around the fabric so that it holds the fabric down. Never have your fingers in the hoop when it's stitching. Chances are the needle may inadvertently stitch through your finger. And you can do serious damage not only to your finger but to your machine. That happened on the weekend with one of our customers. So whenever I do applique, either tape it down with the OESD tape, or you have the fabric on with some tape and then do the basting box. This is, I always have the opportunity to change where my design is. And I'm actually moving it up on the y-axis. So we saw that when we were in the design screen here, we could change it, or we can even change it in the stitching screen. Again, we have breadcrumbs up here. Let's just go back. This is very important. We've all had thread breaks, bobbin runs out, and we have to resume our stitching. So this is telling me that there are 8,238 stitches for the entire motif. This color has 4,489. So if I go ahead and stitch and my thread breaks, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Doesn't want to go? Okay. So let's say my thread has now broken. So you cut that part out, right? Okay. So let's say we've stitched. Now this is where my two knobs on the side, on the right-hand side of the screen come into play. So here is my overall motif, and here is the area, so it's on stitch 1. If I use my dial and I turn clockwise, it's actually going up a stitch. You can now see my numbers are jumping up. So let's say I got to stitch, let's go up to stitch 20, and then my thread broke. I would rethread my machine. What you always do is you always go back stitches and then start again. My rule of thumb is I always go back 10 stitches. So I'm at stitch 20 when my thread broke. I'm going to turn the top dial counterclockwise, and I'm going down in stitches. So let's go back down to 10. There you go. And now I can resume stitching. I can hit my go button. Then off I go. Now your bottom dial will actually jump up in sections. So if I turn clockwise, it just went up 50, another 50. It's jumping by 50s, which is very handy if you need to go back a significant, or go ahead a significant number of stitches, or go back. This is by 1s, this is by 50s. Same thing. Counterclockwise, I will go down to right where I started. So this icon here is probably your most important one here. Okay. And this one here, I've enabled that. So this means that I'm going to stitch everything in one color. So I'm going to go from multicolor to one color. So in this case, it's all going to stitch it in one color. So that's nice if you're doing white work or red work, because you can take any design and just stitch it all in one color if you want.